Hello everyone, welcome back to Man United Fans Voice. This is Manolis, and of course the big story of the last few days has been Erik ten Hag to Manchester United. So in this video I will give you my thoughts on those reports and those rumours and my thoughts on the future of Manchester United with Erik ten Hag as the manager. To begin with, let's quickly answer two very important questions. Has there been development and more contact between Manchester United and Erik ten Hag? The answer to that is yes. Is the situation as progressed and almost finalized as many reports were suggesting it is last week? The answer to that is no. Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are in a phase of negotiations. They are not negotiating financial terms, they are negotiating football terms. They are negotiating how much control Erik ten Hag will have in football decisions. But there is no agreement yet. The reports suggesting that an agreement has almost been reached were just people trying to win the race of who is going to announce it first. But those reports are not true. Of course, the two sides want to reach an agreement. Manchester United see Erik ten Hag as the manager who is progressive enough to take the club forward. And Erik ten Hag does see Manchester United as his next big step up. But there are a few details in regards of the control of the football club that the two sides have not reached an agreement yet. And they are important details. They are important to both sides. The manager wants to have control because he wants to be able to be the person deciding what tools he will have in his disposal. But at the same time, the club continues to be interested in the financial aspect of the whole project. So that could possibly mean the club not wanting to sell players who have important commercial value and wanting to bring players who are, in simple words, shirt sellers. I've had people messaging me telling me that I seem happy that this has not been finalized yet because I do not like Erik ten Hag and I don't want Manchester United to hire him. The truth is that yes, I am happy that this has not been finalized yet, but the reason is that I don't want him to quickly say yes. I want him to be demanding everything that he is rumored to be demanding. I don't want him to quickly say yes and then follow the same path, the same fate that all the managers before him have had. I want him to negotiate hard. I want him to push hard, to demand everything that a manager at Manchester United should have in order to have a chance of eventually becoming successful. The very positive thing, in my opinion, that comes out of all this is that Erik ten Hag would not demand to have control over who comes and who leaves if he didn't want to make massive changes in that squad. And that, I believe, is really positive. And this takes me to my next point. We cannot demand the Manchester United board to allow the next manager to bring whichever player he wants to bring or let go whichever player he wants to get rid. And then if we don't agree with that decision of the player that he wants to bring in or the player that he wants to sell, then we go on social media and start ranting and complaining because we don't agree with the manager's decision. We cannot be expecting the Manchester United board to do something that we, as fans, are not actually prepared to do. I have never hidden that I do have my concerns about Erik ten Hag. In the last few weeks, I've tried to watch quite a few Ajax games, I've tried to study how he works, how he manages, and I have to admit that he is a very good manager. He is also a very good man manager, and he does develop young players. But it is also true that he is now 52 years old. That means that he is older than Pep Guardiola, he is older than Mauricio Pochettino. And up to now, the only job he has had outside Holland was at Bayern Munich's second team. And we also need to remember that developing young players to play for Ajax in the Dutch league is a completely different reality to developing young players that are going to play for Manchester United in the Premier League. Young players who will be required to build a team that will be competing with teams like Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, arguably three of the best teams in the world. But most importantly, I have very serious doubts that Manchester United will finally function as a proper football club. I have very serious doubts that Manchester United will finally allow a manager and give him everything he needs to eventually become successful. But yes, he is definitely a very good manager. And what we get with a manager like Erik ten Hag is someone who potentially has a higher ceiling. Personally, I preferred Mauricio Pochettino, but the truth is that we have seen his limits. We have seen Mauricio Pochettino's ceiling, and I doubt it would ever reach the levels of managers like Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp. Erik ten Hag gives us hope that he could potentially reach those levels. I hope he is the right man, and for whatever it's worth, I will fully back him. Most of us worry that if things at Manchester United, how the club is run, don't drastically change, Ten Hag will have the same fate as the previous managers before him. And in 2 or 3 years, we will be here again discussing and debating and arguing who is going to be Erik ten Hag's replacement. I worry that the situation in that team is so bad now, that squad is so disjointed after all the previous different managers trying to build their own team without proper backing. I worry that if Manchester United don't give Ten Hag the freedom and the control that he needs, that those discussions and debates about who should replace him won't happen in 2 or 3 years, but it wouldn't surprise me if we are having those conversations next summer. So then the big question is, how much time do you give a new manager? In my opinion, the first season is just for the new manager to get adjusted, especially when that manager has never worked in the Premier League before. The first season is all about him getting to know his new players, getting to know his surroundings, getting to know the Premier League. In the second season, I want to start seeing a specific philosophy on the pitch. And then from the third season, I want to see a team that is starting to be able to compete. Not win necessarily, but compete, challenge for titles. But of course, any conversation about this subject is only valid if that manager is properly backed and is allowed to do his job. Exactly like Manchester City do with Guardiola, like Liverpool do with Jurgen Klopp, like every ambitious club that wants to win titles does. As much as we all know that this agreement is very close, it wouldn't surprise me if in the end it takes longer than what we expect it to do. And the reason for that is that Manchester United need Erik ten Hag more than he needs Manchester United. It is important to understand that there is a difference between need and want. Yes, Erik ten Hag wants to become Manchester United's next manager. For him, financially and status-wise, it's a massive upgrade. But he does not need Manchester United. United need Erik ten Hag. And what he is very rightly demanding is still something that our club is not willing to jeopardize. Erik ten Hag is very defined with his principles and his football philosophy. And if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, like he did at Ajax, he will fail. And he knows that better than anyone. So, those are my thoughts on Erik ten Hag, how close he really is to Manchester United and what we could expect with him as our manager. Leave me your thoughts. Remember to press the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.